All right, welcome back. So, last time you had went to the sea tower. You met with the Duke. You were introduced to a person who had been mercenary hired by the Count of Drindir, who, due to a variety of circumstances, defected over to the Duke's side, who kind of gave you a rundown of how the war is going. You also got some ideas of where you could go to kind of adventure around some more, being told that pirate hunting was open, being offered to get a letter of marque in essence so that you could kind of hunt ships that were working for the enemy. You were also told that there were a number of different mercenaries who had been hired and had come into the country, as well as a druid who was helping to change the weather and make it more practical for the Count's armies to kind of go up and down the country, where before winter had kind of stuck them all in place. And you had also attempted to get Sathara a pardon. The Duke said that he could get her some leniency if you were able to get the dwarven clans to agree to provide her leniency on their part. You met with their representatives. Some of them were a bit reluctant to provide that kind of help. Others were very, very willing to help you. Ultimately, it came down to a issue where there was a dwarven ghost on Snowtap Hill, the cemetery, and they'd asked you to go in and investigate what's going on. So, we leave you off there. What are you all doing?
Graham was asking about those dwarven clan records.
Yep.
Which I think she left with, give me some time and I'll get them ready for you.
Yep. And you'd also gone to the Hall of Records to try and find some information, but a lot of them were old and difficult to kind of piece together.
Yeah. I guess we can go and scope out the graveyard district, just do some fact finding.
Yeah, let's go scope out the graveyard district.
Okay. Well, you know where the graveyard is. Takes you a little bit of time, about an hour or so to get there, but eventually you do arrive. It is much snowier than you remember. You had gone there previously. But now you see that the actual hill itself, with all the mausoleums, all the graves that have been dug, has a blanket of snow covering it. Snow clings to all of the grave sites. The paths there have been cleared out, as the graveyard keepers have been able to at least provide a little bit of work to make sure that people can still visit the graves even in the middle of winter.
Graham will do some customary prayers for the dead as he goes in.
Did you say there was an orphaned ghost or a ghost of an orphan?
It was you were told it was a dwarven spirit from the time that Arwell had colonized Viderheim, and it has been showing up and causing trouble. And that's really all you know.
Ghosts?
Yeah, so we're trying
have
to
a lot of money, but tend to try to murder you if you take it. They don't stop because they're ghosts. This is Pickle's perspective.
There's other concerns at play, but yeah, that's accurate. So Graham is going to start heading up towards where the ghost is known to manifest each year.
Okay. So you were told that the ghost shows up somewhat randomly among the graveyard. So you will have to start going search for it. But you see that there are a number of people kind of milling around, probably no more than a few dozen, as well as a number of different keepers for the actual grave sites.
Well, he just randomly shows around. Can I locate him with Divine Sense?
Yes, go ahead.
Let me see. I'll just leave it because it's not.
I don't remember the range, but
It's like 60, but for how long? I don't know if there was a duration.
yeah, it is.
I don't think it has a duration.
Here we are, Divine Sense. Until the end of your next turn, so it lasts for 6 seconds.
So if I technically use it, let's say at the beginning of my turn, and move around 30 feet, will I be able to sense them as I move?
Yeah, you can kind of like run around for 6 seconds, see if you can sense anything.
Can we do that, like as we explore? Like I don't know how big the graveyard is, just to help.
Yeah, Graham's also going to be trying to sense out spiritual unrest.
Okay. This graveyard is actually really big.
That's what I
This
thought.
is like the largest graveyard for the actual city and is meant to inter the bodies of the majority of the citizens.
So how? So if I hit Divine Sense and I guess went around like at max speed, how much? How many feet would I cover? 60 plus
Well, you can move. You can move
30.
60 a turn, so every 6 seconds.
So 120 feet, I guess.
Yeah, you would be able to. I would say, because this is you're not in combat, so you get a little bit more flexibility there. You would probably be able to cover, yeah, let's say 120 feet. That's not
6 charges of it, I believe. Yeah. So I guess 720 feet.
Yep.
If I use them all, I guess I'm willing to go up to 720 feet if we don't find it between me and Graham relatively quickly.
Okay. And as for Graham, if you would like, you can go ahead and make a religion roll to open up your senses to any spiritual and spectral energies.
I will attempt this.
And if he wants to direct my running around, I will listen to his direction.
Okay, so between the two of you, right now in the lowest section, you are not feeling any undead presence. You are more just feeling standard kind of, well, for Otto, nothing. For Graham, any spirits here are more at peace.
Otto would probably make his way up to the higher
Yeah, my thought is go towards the oldest graves.
locations of the cemetery, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, it probably grew outward.
From what you remember, this graveyard is the more prestigious citizens would be buried at the top, and then as it goes down further towards the bottom of the graveyard, it's to the people who can't afford the nicer graves, and then at the bottom would be, in essence, pauper graves. So right now you're in the kind of like section of the graveyard meant for burying poor people.
The Potter's Field, as it were.
Yes.
Okay. Let's keep heading deeper in.
Okay. Give me another religion check, please.
That's
All right.
better.
So, here you're actually feeling some disturbance among the spirits in this kind of middle section where you look around, you can see that the graveyard markers are more, let's say, nicely created. Like the headstones are larger, have a little bit more artistic talent put into it. There are a couple of mausoleums kind of dotted around. Looks like this is maybe something for a more section for people with a little more money, like merchants or anyone who's very good at a specific trade. But you are getting the feeling that there is something here. You can feel the kind of pressure on your chest as the kind of restless spirits of this area are more active. As for where they are, you can't exactly pinpoint it, but you do have a general idea.
Is this a time I can use the
Yeah.
Divine Sense? So
Yep.
yeah, let's do that once he mentions that.
All right.
Okay.
If I can sense any of the restlessness.
Here you actually get a couple of different pings of undead.
Are they in one direction or same direction? Different?
There's two in one direction, as it kind of heads counterclockwise around this hill. The other is kind of clockwise, or clockwise from where you are.
I will point. I'll point the two out to Graham and then say there's one this way.
Yep, let's go.
Which one do you want to go to?
Nearest one first, or if they're equidistant, the left one.
Let's do that.
Okay, so you're going to go to the two that are kind of counterclockwise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Metagaming Ed thinks it's a solo one, but two for the
Probably.
price of one can't go.
But remember, we're fact finding.
Yep.
And know the terrain.
Okay. As you arrive at the area, you can see that there is a small funeral going on. A number of people kind of bundled up in heavy coats, hats, scarves, and gloves are gathered around a coffin, and you can see that the coffin is being loaded and brought into a mausoleum. Graham, give me a religion check at advantage, please, because you've, with Otto's help. Yep.
24.
Graham, you can definitely get the sense that there is some spirit that is standing here watching this coffin go into the mausoleum. A little confused is kind of the vibe you're getting from it.
Graham will approach this spirit as long as he can get close without it being like intruding into the funeral.
The spirit would be kind of at the back of this small group, and this group is not big. This is like 8 people.
Yeah. So Graham will start coming up behind them, but keeping a bit of a respectful distance.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of wait and observe.
Eventually, the coffin gets put into the mausoleum. A cleric gives some final parting words, and then the door is shut, and you can see the caretaker kind of put a lock around it and just claps the iron chain shut. At that point, the people kind of just quickly mull around and just shuffle out of the cold, down the path, and out of the graveyard. The spirit, however, remains kind of still. You get the sense that very somewhat confused about what's happening.
As the people file out, Graham will step to the side farm and then walk up and stand beside the ghost. And after a couple of moments, say, howdy.
The ghost, being acknowledged, kind of begins to kind of gather a little bit more presence, and you can make out the visage of a older human man, kind of stooped over a little bit, and he's looking around. My family's mausoleum's been opened for a funeral, but I don't remember hearing about anybody passing.
Yeah. Does Graham's specific background and training with the Church of Eidos help him with making spirits realize they're dead? Like, what's the proper doctrine for that?
Yes, he does. Yep, that is definitely one thing he's very good at.
Okay, then Graham is going to follow the book on that.
Okay.
So, I don't mean to shock you, feller, but, what does the ghost look like age-wise? Can I tell?
You probably put him at like 60, 70.
How was your health the last couple of months?
Just got a bit of a cough. Cold weather wasn't doing me any favors.
Yeah, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm afraid the mausoleum was opened on your account, my friend.
Oh. So that means that I'm...
Uh-huh.
That's about the size of it.
Oh. I see. Are you sure?
Pretty sure. And as it happens, I can see and talk with you so easily because I've got training in just this sort of thing. And be happy to help figure out how to let you rest a little more easy. Nothing to worry about. I'm here to guide you.
Oh, I had so much left to do. I had so much I needed to get done.
What's at the top of that list?
business was expanding. I was going to try to make amends with some family members following a bit of a incident. I guess I won't get that chance anymore.
Well, never say never. I could possibly bring word to you, or for you.
Yes, he pats down like his spectral pockets looking for like pen and paper and realizes he doesn't have anything because he's a ghost.
I got you. Graham will fish out his journal and his quill or what have you.
Send a message to my son, Wallace, and just let him know that I apologize for the unpleasantness that came between us. He'll know what it was, and that I am sorry. Yes,
And
that'll do.
can I get your moniker, mister?
He points to the name above the mausoleum, which is Rakshan.
And your first name, sir?
I am Wallace Senior.
Wallace Rection.
Yes.
All right. Well, pleasure to make your acquaintance. And if you have any questions, I'll tell you what I can. I'm a follower of Eidos, goddess of peaceful rest.
Wasn't that a cult?
Depends on when in history, if you want to get technical about it.
It's funny. I have probably 1,000 questions right now. Not a single one's coming to my mind. I'm going to think for a bit.
Understandable.
Do you come here often?
As it happens, I'm here on business. There's another restless spirit in this grave who's a little older, and we're looking to help put him to rest.
Well, I've been around here a little bit longer. Who is the fella you're looking for?
Well, that's the thing we don't know. It's an ancient dwarf from around the time of the rebellion against the Arwellan Empire.
Oh, I did see a rather odd-looking dwarven fellow, kind of muttering in that kind of old tongue they used to speak. Covered a little bit of it in school, but he was on the other side. But he wanders around. I'd seen him about lately, but I couldn't make heads or tails of what he was saying.
I'll thank you kindly. Let me see to your business. Feel free to take a little time and come to terms with things and figure out what's important and what really isn't. And that'll help you with passing on easily.
I guess I'll have to. Spirit kind of fades, no longer visible to the other members of the party. You're still aware of his presence, however, Graham.
Okay. Graham will tip the brim of his hat and turn back to the others. Unrelated, but he might have had some info for us, and I'm going to be helping him with a little unfinished business.
Okay.
I feel like during this whole conversation, I feel like Otto and Fiffle in the background is like, who's he talking to?
That was, in fact, the experience in his hometown.
You know how Graham is. He has many friends.
He thinks he's a cleric of a god of undead.
He did point that way, so I guess we're going that way.
And Graham will start heading towards the other spiritual thingamajig that they sensed.
All right.
I guess I'll divine sense to pinpoint it faster.
Yep. Go ahead. You use your divine sense.
One ping only.
I have four left now, so I assume we'll just beeline to it, save a little bit of time.
Yep. As you approach, you can see that there is a person working at the graveyard. He's kind of brushing snow off of some of the headstones. He has a shovel in one hand, Is kind of bundled up. Looks shorter. You would say he's probably about 5 feet tall.
Dwarven, as it were.
Yeah, I would assume he's a dwarf.
You are not sure, as he is really just heavily covered in furs.
Graham will venture closer.
Okay. As you approach, you can kind of hear the crunch of snow, so he turns and looks at you. Oh, hello. Looking for a specific grave?
Howdy. We're actually on the tail of a restless spirit of an ancient ghost here. And no, I'm not funning you.
I've worked here long enough. Ancient ghosts, restless spirits. Don't have to explain anything to me.
Well, my name's Graham. Nice to meet you, Mr.
Doesn't matter. I'm not here to make friends.
Fair enough.
It doesn't matter. That's his name.
You happen to know where the spirits are most restless around here?
Well, there's a dwarven fella kind of running around. He's about...
Sounds like who I'm after.
Yeah. He's about my height. Here's a tip for you: don't get sick when you're a kid. Anyway. This one, I've seen him around for... I see him about once a year. About this time. That's not unusual. Happens sometimes here or there. Although I will admit he's been a little bit more... What's the... disruptive?
Yeah.
But normally when they kind of go around, they don't bother you much. This one can actually knock you down. I'm not sure what next year is going to bring.
You happen to know much about the history of this place or that ghost?
Ugh. I looked around, and I can't find his grave. So something tells me if he was buried here, he was tossed in a pit and probably covered up, and nothing to do with it. But, I mean, if you want to look at the history of this place, I've been here, working here 30 years now. Anyway.
Be happy to hear all about it.
Oh, okay. All right, well, let's see. This hill here is a graveyard. But it didn't actually always used to be a graveyard. It actually used to be kind of where you would have, place where people would meet, because it's up, it's on a hill, so you can look around and see if anyone's approaching. You can put a wall around it. It used to be a wall. I don't know where it was anymore, because, it was made of wood, and then the Orwellans came and tore it down. And this place is now a graveyard, because there is some battle here a long time ago, and everyone died, and they did a mass burial here, and that was that.
And you happen to know the whens and wheres of when that happened?
700 years ago? It was when the Orwellans kind of first arrived.
You happen to know where the oldest body pits were?
The oldest ones, they're all buried down at the bottom, where we bury the poor folk. A few of the other people got buried up higher because they were, chiefs and the like, given a little bit more respect. Except the ones who were, stuck on the spikes to kill them. I think their bodies just got burned.
Whereabouts was that? Ghosts tend to manifest most around places of violent or shocking death and all that.
Well, let's see here. The spikes were actually around the walls themselves of the city, so you gotta head around the actual bear. Those spikes aren't there anymore. They took them down a long time ago. The only place you're really gonna find them anymore is Drindir or Sulsanis or someplace where they kept them on the walls.
Right. How about here in the graveyard where that dwarf tends to show up the most? You got kind of a stomping grounds?
It's been around these parts a little bit. I'm just cleaning up some of these grave sites, and then I'm heading to another section. He's been troublesome, and I don't speak whatever dwarven language he's talking, so I can't make heads or tails of it. Can't make no sense of that kind of muttering. But, yeah, look in this area around. I'm sure he's probably got some business.
All right, thank you kindly. Graham's gonna do that.
He kind of goes back to cleaning off some of the headstones. But, oh, yeah, look a little bit further down that way. I saw him like 2 nights ago in that area.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Graham's going to go that way.
All right. Graham, you feel an odd presence in that area, very close to where Otto had been able to find through his divine sense. If you could give me a religion roll, please, at advantage.
Oof. If I get the halfling wink, I could also
You
that. 20 it is.
All right, then. Yeah, I don't know what the halfling wink would be that had 2 1s, but it ain't great. It's the halfling stink eye, I'm sorry.
The hairy eyeball. Oh, I shut that place down.
However, you do feel a ghostly presence in this area. It is close to where Otto's divine sense would show and is manifesting. You could feel the kind of torment in the spirit, but you can't sense the spirit's like direct location right now, just that it's in this general spot, probably about 30 feet from where you are.
Okay. Graham is going to start kind of slowly walking that area and motion for the others to do the same and let them know if they feel any, paranormal activity signs. Pretend you have a hand cam and you're an asshole. And
got it.
Just if you shudder and go, ah. And Graham's going to try to pinpoint the location.
Fibble, you actually feel a spectral presence right behind you. Like, you're not sure if you've ever felt a spectral presence before, but you can definitely feel the hair in the back of your neck.
Fibble yelps. Eep!
Oh, yep, there you go. Graham will walk over there.
Yeah, Graham, you're really feeling it here. You can hear whispers of old Arwellen just right kind of at the back of your mind. Make a perception check, please.
Jesus.
It's difficult to tell, no matter what. You can hear the words, you can reference, like you can make out old Arwellen, something betray, something broken. You're not 100% sure.
Graham is gonna hold a hand out behind Fiffle to where he is and try to cast Speak with Dead again.
Oh, okay. As you cast that spell, a dwarven presence is very easy to feel, and all of you can now see this outline, this transparent outline of an older dwarf. He is obviously he's a dwarf. He's got the long beard. He is wearing this old style armor. You've only really seen the armor in either museums or pictures or tapestries, but he is just kind of like wearing this. It's heavy, but it's not like tremendously heavy. It is not plate. This would predate plate by quite a while. You can also see that there are a number of wounds along his face, his neck. You can see that there are wounds actually stabbed into the armor itself and the weak spots. Looks like he has died from a tremendous amount of violence.
Graham will bow to the spirit and say, Ancient ghost of a dwarf betrayed, please tell me your name that I might bring you justice.
Betrayed. They broke their oath. Betrayed. How could they betray me? They were supposed to fight by my side. How could they fail me? Just kind of muttering to himself over and over.
Who broke their oath?
My battle sworn. They were supposed to fight by my side in my trial. They failed me. Traitors. Blasphemers, all of them.
Were they of a clan?
We are all of the clan. My sworn brothers of my brother clan broken. Throwing their lot in with the invaders, how could they?
What were their names?
Balin, Sindra, Uldric, Philia. To the hells with them all. I hope they're burning for their... None who break the oath may live.
Are we going on a vengeance mission, Graham?
No, we're figuring out who betrayed him so we can rest. Graham is going to write down those names.
He repeats them over and over.
Vengeance. Seems to want some vengeance. Just saying.
Can Graham make a history check off of those names with what he knows right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Does he need their descendants executed? I can do that for him.
Hopefully not, but 20.
Okay. There have been a number of dwarves who had those names throughout history. The specific ones you're looking for, you know that they would probably be somebody who would be more important among their clan mates. As for the actual who they are, you can't say for sure, but you have a theory about checking some of the history books and some of the surviving records.
Okay. Does Graham remember any of those names from the previous trawls through the records yet?
Give me one more history check, please.
Can I help him?
Come on, no whammies. Actually, yeah, can you? Because you helped me with it before.
Yeah, go ahead.
Give him advantage.
24.
All right. Yes, Graham, you recall hearing some of these names in relation to the kind of time period when this would be. And these would be taken from oral records that had then later been transcribed and had managed to actually survive some of the scouring in order to remove some of the information. And the names seem to track with some of the additional clans. And as you and Otto kind of put the thoughts together, Otto, you actually do realize, yes, you in fact do know these people's descendants.
I have a guess.
You have Balin Bitterbane, Sindra Silverbelt, Uldric Underforge, and Philia Frostriver.
All right. That's a grenade to roll into the room.
Where do we know them from?
Those are the heads of each of the current
the
Dwarven clan representatives of
Ooh.
Viderheim.
We
I
have
thought
to
it would
kill
be
them
one of them. It was all of them. We did a full Nerevar right here.
And I want you to give me one more history check, please.
Okay, regular or advantage?
Do an advantage, as you managed to successfully put this together.
23.
The oral history is pretty... It is, a little embellished. But knowing these names, knowing the time period, having a general idea of what happened, you kind of pinpoint that this can be only one dwarf. And this would be Morgan Emberborn of the Forgotten House.
All right. That's the ghost's identity?
This is yours speaking to Morgan Emberborn.
Morgan Emberborn. That was your name in life, was it not?
Morgan, yes. Betrayed by my sworn brothers. Tried and failed by them. Murdered by the Arwellans. How could they? Why would they?
Yeah. Why would they?
Would they turn for money or power?
I wouldn't have thought so. I would have thought they'd be brave, honorable, true. They broke trust. Find them. Find why they betrayed me.
Very well.
Return here soon. More is coming.
All right. Graham writes all this shit down.
Would this kind of betrayal be the equivalent of like breaking your oath as a paladin? He wants them murdered, doesn't he? Can I tell that?
Okay, so for that one, that would be a history roll. That would be one you're doing yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good roll. This is not a paladin oath in that regard, but you do know that the kind of dwarven clans would put a lot of emphasis and a lot of respect on making very specific oaths. Terms like battle sworn are familiar, but you can't quite place them and what it means exactly. So, yeah, something like that.
I asked Graham since he's smarter with the Arwellan like that history frame. Can he shed light on that?
Graham, give me a history roll with. This would just be one you're doing yourself.
Yep. Flat.
All
Nice.
right. This. Okay, so yeah. When Otto mentions Battlesworn to you, Battlesworn are, in essence, specific to dwarven clans in Viderheim alone. Doesn't have anything to do with Arwellans or the Empire or anything of that nature. But they are dwarves who have shed blood together and have made oaths on their ancestors and their family name to support one another in trials and times of strife. And it is used to kind of bind clans together and specific members of clans together in a kind of way to like basically allow them to ally together. The cultural aspect behind it is something you are not entirely familiar with. Like you can understand that they really emphasize the individual relationships between the Battlesworn but the actual forging of a Battlesworn oath and the breaking of a Battlesworn oath, while it's been like the history emphasizes that it is not easy to do, it is a very big deal. The actual cultural aspect behind it is something that would pass you by.
Yeah, makes sense.
I was gonna say because I was gonna ask, what is the penalty of breaking an oath of like that important? Should all parties be alive?
I mean, I feel like we don't want to do the full Arthas Benathel experience here because those clans now run our dwarven community.
Execution! Just kidding.
However, it's something to bring up. And it would be a pretty big deal, I think, for anybody, especially such a tradition and cultural dwarven thing. But you're gonna have to figure that shit out.
Mm-hmm.
Can we look up records of previous like major grievances in dwarven history like that?
Yes, if you'd like to head to where would you like to head? I suppose is the question to ask.
Where would have dwarven records?
The bar?
No, not ledgers.
The Book of Grudges. Well, this guy's got a Book of Grudges. I don't know.
Dwarven records. Dwarven libraries. Dwarven
There's only 2 places, and we've been there. I guess we could go back to the Hall of Records.
If you'd like.
I don't know Dwarven Civil Society too well.
And you also know that area has the city hall as well as the library, at least the main branch.
Yep, let's do it.
We could possibly check City Hall, because there might be, like, records on the Dwarven place within the city of Viderheim, like, federally or governmentally. And that would date back to around then, because that was when the deals were struck. If they betrayed the Dwarven Rebellion. So yeah, let's check City Hall records.
All right.
Yeah, we'll go through their tax receipts.
All right, you head to City Hall. Takes you about 45 minutes to an hour to get there, but you do arrive. A lot of people there as they are doing business. Eventually, as you stand in line, passes through, and a clerk at the front desk sees you. Yes, I can help you.
Looking for historical records of the city.
Okay, how historical are we talking here?
About 700 years.
His eyes go a little wide.
Historical.
He was not kidding.
All right. Okay. All right then. Can you?
It's way more interesting.
He kind of like waves over. Can you cover for me real quick? Another clerk sits down. All right, follow me.
Thank you.
And he leads you down a staircase, and then down another staircase into the sub basement. And he takes you down a long hall, and the candles here are very nearly burnt out, and it's kind of dark. He ends up taking like one small little candle, and he just walks you down the hall to this far back section. And inside is a room coated in dust, spiderwebs all around, and just shelves and rows of shelves and all sorts. As well, here's our oldest records. This technically predates the actual, government. These
Perfect.
are stuff we've collected from, like, Arwell records and all the old crap before we ever actually, had a duke.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. He puts the candle down. Good luck.
Thanks. Graham is going to start looking for records in Old Orwellan pertaining to dwarves or records in Dwarven.
All right.
Investigate.
Yes, please.
Can
I'll
I
help
get
him.
advantage?
If somebody's
I'm
helping.
helping.
We should all help you investigate, even though we're all. I mean, I'm not very helpful, but I'll help you. Piffle runs books back and forth for you.
Well, that's 15.
Okay. This takes like 4 hours to look through all these old records. A lot of them are written in a really old script. Most of them are old Arwellan, meaning that Graham is really the only one who can actually read what it says. But eventually, you do find some records pertaining to dwarves who had been kind of elevated to advanced positions within the city. Speaks of Clan Bitterbane, Silverbelt, Underforge, and Frost River, as well as a record that shows Emberborn with lines struck through the name.
Okay, Graham will note down the title of this record and where he found it,
And
start looking for contemporary stuff about it.
yeah. With these records, give me one more investigation roll, please.
Okay. Solo?
You'd be able to do it at advantage.
Oh.
All right.
26.
This one doesn't take as long. It takes about an hour. But eventually you do find additional records of these clans and more. So these records are definitely old. Most of them you can see have been transcribed from what you suspect to be addition, like it is in essence a copy of paperwork that had existed previously. Not terribly much. You do see in essence, an order of execution for Morgan Emberborn and a subnote asking for a trial by combat. And a judge is ruling that it would be acceptable. It's against Arwell policy to provide a trial by combat, but it would match Viderheim's internal laws that are being respected in one specific case, and a whole bunch of legalese that you're having a tough time puzzling out. You suspect, based on the old style of the language and the judge's order, it may have been something to attempt to kind of tamp down rebellion by giving a little bit of wiggle room.
Okay. Graham is going to look for records of where that trial by combat was set to take place and what they recorded about it.
Okay. I'd say you can stick with that 26.
Yay.
Well, you can see that the trial by combat was going to be held by Morgan Emberborn. He called together his sworn battle brothers, and was going to be matched by a number of Arwellan soldiers who would be able to then engage in a duel. You can see the names of some of the people who had been called. Only the first names. The actual clan names have been purposely left off, you can see. But Balin, Sindra, Uldric, and Philia.
Okay, confirm that. Note down that page reference.
And you can see that the battle was going to take place at the Emberborn Long Hall, which was located on what was described as the Snowtop Hill.
Okay.
And for funsies, give me one more investigation roll. Just a flat one.
Okay. 16.
You also find among the papers a note from about 3 years later indicating the Long Hall is to be demolished.
Makes sense. Knowing what I do about the place, can I make a history for where the old Snow Hill is? Probably the graveyard?
Yeah, go ahead.
19.
Yeah. It's Snowtop Mountain. It's Snowtop Hill. It's the graveyard. And from all the information you're able to gather, all the information you're able to puzzle together, it was Emberborn territory. Had their nice hall there. It had a nice wooden wall around it. And with the Emberborns falling out of favor, it was torn down and turned into a graveyard.
Pretty rude.
Generally.
I'd be pissed.
Seems pretty little bit of a faux pas.
Graham is going to look for the names from there of those dwarves and any early records of their interaction with the Arwellan Empire. Maybe they got paid to turn coat, or some records or assets were transferred.
All right. Give me another investigation. You can do so advantage if you are being assisted by people, which I'm assuming yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
21.
All right. With the names and the different records, you do find that there are records of not payment per se, but elevation of some of the clans being elevated and put into positions that benefit them, and number of clans that have been removed from different positions and basically taken out of positions of power to be replaced with clans that back the Arwellan Empire. The clans that have been removed from power, you can see, are probably victims of the scouring, as their names have been struck from history.
Makes sense.
And Clan Emberborn, normally having had the highest seat of power among the Dwarven clans, in essence, first clan among equals has been reduced to a sub-clan
Okay.
and had all of its offices basically stripped from them.
That would probably coincide with them eventually finding Colty, huh?
You suspect it, yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, Graham records all this once more, and well, that's going to certainly complicate the diplomatic meeting.
And yeah, and you also make note that specific symbols of the clan's offices have been given over and reside with the clan members themselves.
Graham's going to make note of what those are because maybe those can be used to symbolically start a penance for treachery and murder.
They actually look to be the iron medallions that had been stamped with the clan symbols. These medallions, you can see, had been given to them by Arwellan authorities to show not only clan membership, but also that they are operating on behalf of the Arwellans.
Okay. Graham will also record all that and just make a master dossier of so your ancestors are bastards. Oh, this is going to be a rough PowerPoint to present. Um.
Execute everybody. Simple solution. Graham, kill everybody.
Well, the next thing Graham's got to do is figure out what actually will mollify the spirit.
Killing everybody. Seems clear to us.
I've given you the answer. Graham.
Murder hobo mode active. All right.
Let everybody take everything that they've earned off of his death, and he's happy.
Graham start cross-referencing contemporary dwarven religious documents with his own training on how they might address a pissed-off vengeful ghost?
Yeah, go ahead. You probably
Religion or investigate?
This would be a religion. As you're racking your memory of this, you don't suspect you're going to find the actual answer you want within this Hall of Records.
Okay. I'll look for clues. 20.
All right. The dwarves and their religious aspects, they would primarily focus on the different gods that would reside within Viderheim and be the gods of the Viderheim people. You would know that things like Heroth, of god of valor and honor, Tyrell, of justice and order, would be like the kind of ones that you would go to for things of this nature. As for the actual specifics of it, you're not 100% sure right now.
Okay.
But those two gods would be very important within actual dwarven religious aspect, and typically you would think of them as being like the ones that the dwarven clans would focus on primarily.
Okay. Why don't we head back to the graveyard or the temple area outside the graveyard and look for the temples of those gods?
Okay. You know that there's temples all around. You know that there's the actual large temple that it hosts and houses the major shrines and has all the clerics for the different temples, different gods. So, which would you like to go to? Like the big main center or one of the side areas?
I guess we're still looking for records and doctrine. Probably the big ones.
All right. Now, you've been there once before. Let me just go pull up the actual name of the place. There we are. All right. This would be the... what was it called? Stupid So many notes.
Carl's.
Alright. I can't remember the actual name of it, but this was the temple that had been painted in large, bright colors. It's probably the most colorful building you remember from the actual Viderheim, as they typically go with a very practical, kind of dull color. But so this was the large temple center. So that area is actually very close to where you are, probably like a good 15-minute walk.
Okay. Let's head that way, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll use the restroom.
While Graham was doing his investigation, Otto was reading a book that said how to appease an angry spirit with murder.
That's what it was. It was the Jeweled Temple.
Is that where we're headed?
Yep. The Jeweled Temple. Yeah.
Let us head to the Jewel Temple. The Temple of Jewels. Are there any jewels there?
Surprisingly, no. Well, once there were, they have been pried off and eventually just replaced with. And they basically paint to represent them as the temple had trouble with, people going by and just popping off some sapphires.
Fiffle looks pretty dejected about all that.
I'm dejected for Fiffle too. Why can't we have fun here and do the things we enjoy?
Well,
I want to murder.
sadly, the Fiffle of the past, I think, is the reason why they had done this.
So who are we looking for? Who is Graham looking for?
So Graham was looking for information about the. He wanted to check Dwarven, the gods that the dwarves typically would go to. So you know that it would be Heroth and Tyrell would be the big ones. Valor and Honor, Justice and Order. I mean, once you enter into the temple, you can see that there are a number of large statues representing each of the gods. And it's not very difficult to find the two you're looking for, as they are right in the center, some of the larger statues, and they seem to have the most candles and offerings placed all around the statues.
So let's go there, see if there's any iconography or information that might help Graham.
All
Is
right.
Graham bad?
As you approach, you can see that there are a number of clerics kind of around. Junior cleric sees you approach and kind of bows his head. Greetings. I am a cleric of Tyrell. Do you wish to make an offering? Prayer? Do you have anything you need assistance with? If you do,
We're looking to spiritual law in the ancient clan sense. Graham will roughly outline, without naming names, that there's a serious grudge for an ancient dwarf spirit, and they're looking for what would mollify the spirit from this betrayal.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Well, I suppose, thinking about it, from the teachings of Tyrell, you would want to rectify the situation. So if you are able to, it would be something along the lines of finding out what had been done and then correcting the problem.
Yeah, that's the thing. Correcting the problem might disrupt modern day politics.
Well, from a purely religious standpoint and following my own morals and ethics, I would say that compromising justice for modern day politics is not a good way to look at things. That politics should move over for justice. However, I know from a purely practical perspective that doesn't actually translate well that often.
What?
So from from a purely ecclesiastical perspective, I would say do what needs to be done so that justice may prevail. From the perspective of somebody living in the city, temper justice and find it where you may. I know that's not exactly the most pleasing answer, I guess would be a good way to say it, but
It is what it is.
I mean, injustice begets injustice, but oftentimes searching for justice can lead to further injustice. I could give you a blessing of Tyrell if you would like. Hope that his honor finds you and gives you strength.
Thank you. I certainly won't say no to any blessings I can get my hands on.
He approaches each of you, gives a very brief blessing, and he kind of takes some oil from a little pouch, like a little jar on his belt, and he just puts a little dab right on your forehead. You can feel a little bit of energy, a little bit of heat as he does so, and then the oil, you can like begin to smell like a pleasant scent from it as it like dries and evaporates from your head.
Yay.
Solid blessing. Solid blessing.
Thank you kindly.
Yes. Hopefully this gives you some guidance. And if you ever need to rely on the strength of Tyrell, please come back to us. And I also have some literature if you would like. But
Are these like the usual pamphlets, or could this actually be pertinent info to the hunt?
he goes and he takes out a well-worn copy of it just says teachings. Just says Teachings of Tyrell. It is very blunt, very to the point. And he hands it over. This is my personal copy, but it seems you're in a bit of need of assistance. Please keep it. It's brought me peace. It has guided me in times of torment, trouble. I hope that it can do the same to you.
Thank you very much. Quite a meaningful gift. And I guess we're probably just going to have to present our findings to the dwarves and let them know it's on them to figure out how to figure this out.
All right.
We can do that. Seems logical.
Well, we do have other records we can look into that they're pulling together for us, especially now that we know where to look. But they'll also probably be able to offer us some insight on like what they do about oath breaking or breaking Bloodsworn or Brothersworn.
It has a number of different names, as it is primarily from an oral record. But for right now, it's about, you're there a while. It's like 7 p.m. It's dark out.
Okay. Probably worth heading back to the Windsong for now then.
Okay.
Unless it was a come back tonight kind of thing for the records. I think it was like the next day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you leave the temple, you can see that there are a number of carriages out in the street. Taking people mostly from the temple itself.
Okay.
Graham
will look around as they're walking out.
Anybody recognizable we know?
Make a perception check.
Where are you, perception? Let me not hit performance.
I mean, if you do, you can do a little jig.
I'm using my peepers.
You do not see anybody who looks familiar, but you do see that there's an open cab that has just arrived as a little halfling man who is guiding a couple of horses. He sees you, seeing him. He's like, "Hello, sirs. Care for a trip? 1 silver a person, and I can get you anywhere in the city in no time at all."
Let's go. I'll pay for us.
All right. Oh boy.
This is adventure.
Are we about to get Christmas episoded?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
All right. Claps his hands together. Come on in. I got a little I got some coals and some seat heaters under there, so your butt will be warm.
Oh,
That's
nice.
what I'm talking about. I give him an extra 3.
Thank you, sir. All right. The cab itself is a little shabby. Like the cushioning on the seat is a bit worn. Obviously, a lot of people have sat in it and kind of like put their groove into it. But the seats are warm. You can see that he has, in fact, put little like pans underneath with some coals in them. And inside, it is pretty warm. Door shuts and kind of takes off. You kind of hear him talking from the front. Where to, sirs?
We're heading back to Windsong, right?
Yep. Unless you have anything to do, I believe that's the goal.
Windsong Manor. Ah, Crossblades. I know the place. Hiya! He kind of like snaps his whip and the horses like take off, and you just kind of trundle down the streets. Kind of feel a little bump here or there. The ride itself is going to take probably a good 20 minutes. But would you like to do anything on the way there?
Graham is going to review all of his notes again.
I'm just gonna like look around the city, see anything,
Oh, here's a thought. The whole thing with Sathara, she was defiling Emberborn graves, right? Like their clan site?
Yep.
Do we have the name on that amulet of culty that we found? Or anything like that? Any name to the stuff she stole that we repossessed?
Yeah, let me go take a quick look here.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I gotta go in all my notes.
If I suffer, you suffer.
Alright,
We all
let's see.
suffer.
Alright, here we are. Yes. So, the name on the actual culty amulet would belong to Darun Emberborn.
Would I know that name from the records we spent all day going through?
I would say yes. Yeah.
Whoa.
That person would have died probably a good 400 years ago. This would be around the time when Emberborn was really being kind of hammered with losses and just generally declining, with the culty worship being, in essence, the final nail in the coffin.
Okay.
So he, from what you remember, would be considered the last of the clan head for Emberborn.
Does it mention who his parents were?
It does. It gives a genealogy. The names travel back. He would be what looks like the grandson or great-grandson, you're having a little trouble remembering, of Morgan Emberborn.
Okay. Graham will add that to the notes. Well, I might have my legal defense of Sathara set up for me.
And you remember him from the genealogy records being the cousin of Thormer Emberborn, who is the kind of mad spirit you had seen when you actually first met the representatives.
Okay.
But eventually the carriage arrives at Wingsong Manor. The halfling taps on the roof. All right, sirs, you are home. I wish you a good evening, and please stay warm and don't eat the yellow snow.
Well, thank you
good
kindly for the
advice.
ride.
As you leave the carriage, the door shuts, and the whip snaps, and the horses kind of just take off.
I like the idea that don't eat the yellow snow is kind of a traditional well-wishing in Viderheim.
All right, let's head in.
Well, actually, one thing you also notice is the bar across the street is open.
Hey,
Hey, isn't that Otto's bar?
it is.
It is.
You can hear music. You can hear a lot of chatting. You can see light flowing from the windows.
Piffle hears dollar signs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right in the middle of the road. Wind Song would be to your right. Bar would be to your left.
Well, we could head into the bar if you want.
Yeah, let's go ahead to the bar.
See how it's doing.
Okay.
I both look forward to this, and I also dread it because I have.
All right. You head in, and you can see that this is a mix. It looks like a mix of longshoremen and kind of workers. It's warm inside, nice fire roaring in the corner. In the fireplace, just in case you were concerned about that, number of drinks getting brought around, mostly beer, a couple of ales, and it looks like some pretty standard food. You can see a number of people, basically waiters and waitresses kind of bring all the food around. You can see 2 barmen at the bar itself, a number of people sitting at the front. And barman sees you enter. All right, what can I get you? You got beer and ale, and I could probably get you a glass of wine.
What does Graham want?
I'll have an ale.
He pours out an ale, plops it in front of you. There you go. Drink up, pal.
I'm
Thank
just gonna stick with the ale. This wine sounded a little too notional for him. So
Yeah.
ale sounds like the smart choice here.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. From what I heard, the wine came from some halfling fella, like you.
Yep.
Not to say there's anything wrong with halflings, just this guy was a little shifty. It was my understanding.
Piffle nods sagely.
Can't trust any of them.
Sympathetic.
Yeah. And welcome to the Screaming Halfling, owned by, I guess his name is Sir Otto. I've never met the man.
He's all right.
Absentee landlord, huh? Piffle continues to nod sympathetically.
His friends across the street are the ones who hired us all, and they run the place.
I just nod and agree with Piffle.
Real ballbuster, that guy. Fucking hate him.
Anyway, 2 copper for each ale.
Graham will put a silver down for everybody.
Oh, why, thank you, sir. Look at that. You're in the spirit of the evening, huh? Hey, can I get you anything to drink? Well, beyond the ale, that is, or any food. We got stew, got some mutton, plenty of fish.
Some fish sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. You got some. He looks at the fish being served. It's fish of some kind. I couldn't say for sure.
Can I identify the fish for him?
Give me a nature roll, please.
Where's Fern when you need her for nature roll? I clicked it.
Lady not appearing on this nature roll.
Okay, there you go.
Yep, you believe that is lingcod.
Yeah, Linkcod.
I know beer. I don't know fish, but I know it's cheap because we pull it out of the sea.
As long as it's not doing a blinky.
Yeah.
So where are you folks from?
Originally from Viderheim, but been here on business.
Ah. Yeah, we don't get too many travelers these days. Not since the war started.
Yeah. Real messy business, that.
Yep.
Ah. But hope your business is going well. People always talk to the barman. If you need somebody to listen to you, my ears are open. As long as you're drinking, of course.
I hear that. Graham will drink.
Yeah. Well,
So how you finding this place?
Yeah, well, Graham is conversing with the barman. Is there can I overhear anybody talking about current news or anything like that?
Yeah, give me a perception check.
Can I get an advantage since I'm a barman too?
Sure.
because I'm kind of used to like looking for stuff. Oh, you know what? The
15.
15 was the one I needed.
Well, you definitely hear, because these are a lot of like fishermen, longshoremen, general laborers, you just hear a lot of grumbling about bosses, a lot of grumbling about lack of work with the kind of embargo or the blockade that's being gone on, the fact that the Navy is attempting to chase off the blockade. You hear 2 more ships of the Viderheim Navy have been sunk. The pirates are getting worse. You hear grumbling about how grain's more expensive. You hear grumbling about the fact that the musicians really aren't that great anymore. It seems like they kind of left for Talva. And like people remaining just, are they like tone deaf? They're just not as good as anymore.
The typical complaining.
Yeah.
Boomers, can you do?
Okay. You know what this bar needs? A job board. Okay, I might be influenced by War Tales.
Hey, it's your bar.
I make a note to possibly bring that up to the guys later.
But how much would you like to drink and how much would you like to eat?
Graham's not going to go too crazy. He's got to be up early tomorrow to
Yeah.
make a case for a ghost in court.
Yeah, a fair amount, but not too much.
Yeah, you'll say like 2 drinks each.
Yeah, 2 drinks and whatever they just.
It sounds good.
The link card. All right. Altogether, that is probably about a silver a person.
Graham will put down another silver after the tip he gave for the drink.
Okay. And Otto's eating and drinking the same.
Yeah, I'll pay also same.
Okay. And Fiffle, are you having the 2 drinks and the Linkad dinner,
Yeah.
same as your companion? Okay, so that'd be a silver.
Roll for mercury poisoning.
Yeah.
No, we already did the Halloween special.
Okay.
All right. Still,
like that undercover boss. That this basically what just happened.
the bar, from what you can see, lively. The staff, pretty professional. You don't see anything really out of the ordinary. Anything that would cause you to like really give you any grief. It just seems like this bar is, kind of standard, I guess. It has a working class clientele. The drinks are very standard. They're what you could get at pretty much any bar. It's just in a slightly nicer section of town.
Do I overhear like anything that I could from like the patrons that I could use to make it a little better down the road?
Give me another perception check. Yes, because you are a barman in this specific case, do so at advantage.
I needed it.
From what they're saying, really kind of could use some more music. Like the guy they hired is basically also one of the waiters.
Getting the Chuck E. Cheese experience.
They
Put on the rat suit.
Yep, there probably could be a guy in costume.
Okay, a mascot.
Yeah. Some people are grumbling like, why don't we just go down to the bar by the docks? It's the same food, it's the same drinks.
Otto makes a note to burn that bar down.
I'm not going to make myself better. I'm going to make everybody else worse.
Otto. Piffle pulls you aside. He's like, Otto, don't write that down.
I'm just.
Are you taking notes on a criminal conspiracy?
Just relay that to me verbally, Otto. We'll take care.
Graham just
You know, Pippo and I
no.
gonna just make a silent, like, just like hand gestures. So like, we gotta burn the rival down.
Oh yeah.
We're not doing that.
Don't tell Graham.
That's another reason we're using hand gestures.
God, if you actually like use a feat to pick up thieves' cants, you can do that.
Is this a thing to do? I have a feat coming up, I think.
I don't know if there's a feat for learning thieves can't.
Don't you just automatically know thieves can't?
Fiffle does.
Thieves do.
Yeah, Fiffle
Unless the,
does, but Otto does
can keep
not.
that.
Fippo's gonna teach me Graham's here, burn down the competition, and just basic things so we can do
I
this
like that
again.
that's basic things. Like some languages begin with a vowel structure. You begin with arson. The
Look,
Silmarillion over
That's
here.
business.
first of all, it was Kaido and that cat man whose name I can't remember who burned down that warehouse.
Lucian.
None of you are free from sin.
Look, I only suggested it out of character,
And it only happened in character.
but Otto was innocent. Okay. Continue. These things happen for a reason.
Sometimes the reason is I want to make money off of insurance claims.
Well, we did make money off.
Sometimes it is.
Graham is gonna order another drink. My roommate heard that. Immersion.
Okay, so I think we're good.
But
Yeah,
yeah, he
you
doesn't
hear,
get too
like-
hammered.
You hear one other guy complaining like, "There's no fox fighting pit."
We're not getting a fox fight.
This is a thing.
It's called the Screaming Halfling. We have a Halfling Luchador arena.
Put that on the list. Actually,
Sounds way better than fox fighting to me.
yeah. You know what? We could have community night every Friday where the drunk people would just wrestle.
Take turns wrestling Fiffle.
Grease them up real good.
We had to make
I
do
feel-
before Tinder, you understand.
I fought the half. Somehow I'm missing 15 gold worth of like stuff. All right. Now let's
Alright.
head back. I'll let Jimmy and Jackson know like the feedback I heard is like do a pat on the back on good establishment running.
All right. Yep. You see Jimmy and Jackson relaxing in the building. Like, oh, you went to the bar?
I wanted to look around. Nice,
That's
nice
true.
work.
Very nice work.
No, thanks. I kept it a little, standard. I didn't know what you wanted to do with the place, really, so I just did the most basic. It'll make money. It won't lose you anything, but it ain't gonna make you a ton. You gotta, you want me to make any changes? Let me know.
There was complaining about.
If it's about the fox fighting pit, I'm not putting that in there.
No. What about a drunken like wrestling match at the end of the week between the patrons?
Okay. Well, we can do that. We already have some plans drawn up. You were mentioning before.
Like a community night. It's like,
So we
yeah.
got Okay, so we're already running into problems of square footage.
Yes.
Where would you like the fights to take place? Do you want us to move the tables out from the center and put a little ring?
Here's something crazy.
Mhm.
Why don't we have it out front?
Like in
They're
the
drunk.
road?
They're drunk, put them in the front yard.
Well, that could be done. The problem is the guard will probably come in and break it up.
Let's table that for now. How about entertainment? Hire
But
a
that's the future-
musician,
but that's
put a
the
stand
future
out there.
plan. Yeah, they're complaining about the musician.
Well, we can get
he-
musicians.
He's not very talented.
He's fine. I had a waiter who knows some music, but if you want an actual bard, you'll have to pay for it. Just a little money thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we can get you a bard and no problem. Somebody who can do some actual music, full time.
Check the what is it? The risk versus reward.
Check the classifieds.
Also, a possible job board. Anybody needs something done, they can post it there.
I can put that up there. What kind of jobs are you thinking?
Maybe a cook who knows some better recipes, or at least more of them. because they were saying this place was the same as someplace else in town, so there's no real reason to go here versus there.
Yeah, that's what basic is. Well, we can definitely try and hire a better cook. We get a good cook, we can definitely whip up some better meals. Of course, we'll also need better ingredients. But we got
Maybe
guys
we could
who
source some of those.
We got steps toward improvement at least.
The real problem is
supply chain management.
Yeah, until we actually break the blockade, that stuff is gonna cost us.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably next on our list of goals then. Well, it's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
It's funny. You're gonna break the blockade. You say that, and I've thought for a moment you're joking, but honestly, knowing what you pulled off, maybe not.
Did you know that Graham is going to fist fight the Count of Drendir too at some point?
I certainly want to, but that might have to take it back. Did that some bitch ever reply to my duel challenge?
He did not.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Wait, you actually sent a challenge for a duel to the Count of Drindir?
Oh yeah, he was a real prick.
He also insulted him in the letter.
I see. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, he filed that right into his fireplace.
Well, I'll get a chance someday, I bet.
In fact, he probably didn't even see it. It probably went to whoever opens his mail for him, and then they threw it in the fireplace.
Of course, he's got people for that. Can't even take pleasure in destroying somebody's missives. Shake my head.
Wait, I'm trying to remember. Didn't we blow his manor up? He doesn't have a manor to throw into a fireplace.
That was part of it, yeah. And then he put bounties on our heads, even though we wound up keeping anybody from getting killed.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know what? He couldn't even burn it at the fireplace. He doesn't have a fireplace anymore.
I mean, probably just went to a family's house and then just living there. I mean, I haven't actually. I can find out if you'd like. I can find out where he's living right now.
Nah, fuck him.
Yeah, let's blow his other house up too.
That's our contribution to the war effort. We just keep blowing up his houses.
Well,
they think there's an elaborate counterintelligence program going on, but it's just the crossblades being petty. I should probably not give you ideas.
I mean, I guess he might be staying at maybe his, I don't know, was his cousin or nephew or somebody? I don't know. I heard one of his family members got strung up for some reason, so probably an empty house there.
I think that was his son.
No, it was his. Hold on, I got it written down here. Nephew. It was his nephew.
There you go. I knew it was something. I just knew it was male.
He has one son who's 7. So if he's committed war crimes, you're in a lot more trouble than you would think.
Otto's gonna look at Graham and say, "We need to take him out." That's Joffrey.
Well, it's
He's more Tommen than anything.
certainly a war goal.
We eradicate them from existence.
You must clown the Baron or the Count.
I personally want to execute him.
You might get the chance, but that's an on-the-way kind of goal.
Yeah, I'll execute them all on the way. And then Otto starts to chant under his breath, chop, 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 cut, cut, cut. I wasn't gonna forget that.
You must never.
All right.
Let's see here. So yeah, job board. I can get jobs for all sorts of stuff. So we can get you a cook. Now this job board is also for people to put jobs they want on.
Yep, let's do that too.
Might as well do the full adventuring in thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that works. We can get most of it's going to be find my cat, move some books, but we can put up a few interesting ones if you want.
Yeah, let's do that.
I mean, do you want me to put up some jobs for you guys? What do you need?
What do we need done?
Do we need anything at the moment?
An opportunity to contract adventurers.
Oh God.
The ultimate endgame of D&D.
Yeah, we are. I think
Reciteer mode.
I think
so wealthy.
What's his name?
Hire adventuring parties.
We told Carter Webb to start expanding the guild too. So.
Yeah. We sent letters up to Talva. Road wardens are still operating.
Yep, we'll keep them.
The mail's got to get through.
Yep. Rain, shine, snow, or war.
They got crossbows and clubs for a reason.
Mm.
And I hear they ambushed some patrols from Count Drindir and killed them all. So don't fuck with the mailman.
Good. All right. That's it.
Words to live by.
All right. Anyway, I see you folks have had a few drinks, had a few meals. Did you get like the owner discount?
Didn't bother asking. Kind of wanted to just see how it was going.
Yeah, fair enough. Well then, it's made our dinners easier. I just head over there and get a drink, get a stew, and be done with it.
It's nice. Good job setting it all up for us.
Thank you. Yes, from pirate to bar manager. Gotta say, I didn't see my career heading this way.
Eh.
Then again, I guess I thought I would probably end up like stuck in a cage, hanging out over the ocean for to die. So I guess probably the best retirement I could hope for.
Well, we will definitely need some advice if we're actually going to be taking to try to break the blockade from an experienced sailor, especially one who might have run a blockade or two in his day.
Oh yeah. No, I've got plenty of experience. That being said, I did promise you folks I wouldn't do any pirating anymore.
How do you feel about privateering?
Well, that's technically pirating, but I do know some folks, a few people who mostly legitimate sailors looking for work. So if you ever want to, actually get people working on your ship, I know some folks.
It's not a bad idea.
I like that idea.
And also, I can't be in two places at once. So, I mean, I can be on your ship, or I can be managing your bar.
Yeah, that's about the size of it, isn't it?
Did the Orwellans have a phoning machine?
They did not. Well, sort of. There's the message spell. Actually, I'm sorry, Jeremy, what did you say?
We know a lot of wizards. We can probably clone this guy somehow.
You know two powerful wizards.
Let's not encourage the wizards to start cloning people. That never goes well.
What are you talking about? We have a wizard right over there, and I pointed Hank sleeping.
Yeah,
He's a
God,
pirate.
if you teach him clone magic, he's just going to start cloning hands.
Hands. Good fern.
I'd rather you didn't.
Shut up. Can I just see his like this pseudopod just like that bag sleeps a lot. Is that normal?
I have no idea. Turns out he's sick and we just don't have a vet.
Worried about what's normal or not when it comes to Hank.
Yeah, we all just kind of do our best.
Anyway. But yeah, I can get you. I can go get a crew. You're gonna have to hire them. The ship also doesn't have any weapons, so we're gonna have to get basic stuff. I mean, most of it's been confiscated for the war, but I do know, some contacts here or there. Plus, if you get privateers for the Duke, you're gonna get priority on some good weapons. And I can actually get you a cannon, but I hear it's got a bit of a crack, so you might suffer some misfires from it. But that's why, if you do piracy and privateering, here's the real secret. You take over a ship, and you take their ship. Their cannons, their weapons, their medicine, all of that stuff. And you take the pirates, and you send them back here, and then we'll swing them from the, the docks.
Piracy sounds great. I mean, anti-piracy. Whatever you're talking about, it sounds great.
Privateering.
Privateering, yeah.
Privateering.
Well, if you get
piracy.
Yeah, if you get the Duke to get you, the charter of privateering, and then what you really do, and it's a bit of a tough one, and I never did it myself. You get a Zadora treasure ship, and you take that ship, and you take the treasure on it, and then you do the best thing of it all. You bury it on a small island, and that's your retirement fund. Or you just spend it, I guess. I don't know.
Spend
I don't
it on
know.
things we like. Blam.
But anyway, that's what I gotta give you. The advice I can get you. So just let me know, and I can arrange it. So long as you got the money to pay for it, of course.
Of course. And thank you.
I'm your manager, I guess.
Well, it works for me.
Also, Carter Webb told me to tell you to talk to him about pirates when he's up, because he's old. He goes to bed at like 6 p.m. now.
Fair enough. Can't say I blame him. Now's the right time of year for that.
And he wakes up at 5 a.m.
Bleh.
Why would he do such a thing?
because he's old. What do you want from me? One day it'll happen to all of us. Unless you die young.
Always an option. Don't let anybody else ruin your day. It's your day. Ruin it yourself.
Well, anyway. As for me, I'm going to be hitting the hay myself. It's, season to go to bed early and also wake up late.
Yeah.
And also feel kind of weird about how life be until spring.
Yes, winter. I need to go use the restroom, possibly at length. Are we going for a little while longer, or what do you think?
Probably about a good
I think if you all are going to bed, we can call it here and we can pick it up next time.
Sounds reasonable.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
All right then. So yes, we'll call it here as you all go to bed. You'll all get a long rest, and we will pick it up on the 12th, hopefully, and it'll be bright and early in the morning.
Awesome.
All right.
Pain of death.
See you guys.